So picture this. You walk into your biology exam, you're feeling totally prepared. You've studied for weeks, but then you lose a massive chunk of your grade before you even realize what topic you're actually being tested on. Today in this explainer, we're exposing a tiny, almost invisible mistake regarding topic 12.1. That's the energy values of carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins. It's a trap that completely sabotages grades year after year.
Because get this, that single topic, it accounts for a whopping 15% of the total marks in paper 2 of your Cambridge Biology 9700 exam. 15%. That's literally the difference between an A and a B, or, passing and failing. And it all hangs entirely on how you handle this one specific section on energy values.
Now, if you think I'm just exaggerating to get your attention, listen to this totally blunt warning straight from the principal examiner reports. They actually wrote, and I quote, "Answers are often too vague. Candidates consistently confuse key terminology. Missing specific details doesn't just cost you a random point here or there. It literally drops you out of the top mark bands." The examiners are practically begging for precision, but students just keep giving them these really broad generalities.
So here is the harsh truth. Ordinary revision completely fails for this. Simply memorizing textbook facts, reading basic definitions of carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins over and over, it's just not going to cut it. The assessment framework prioritizes analytical depth over superficial breadth, meaning it's not enough to just know what a lipid is, you have to prove you know how it behaves in a biological system. If you just recite facts, you're missing the core requirement of logical reasoning that the Cambridge syllabus absolutely demands.
But hey, let's get you a really quick win you can use right now. Always define your terms first. Before you even try to answer a long question or apply a concept to some weird, unfamiliar scenario, explicitly state the precise biological terminology. The whole theoretical architecture of this topic is built on those precise definitions. When you establish them clearly right out of the gate and then make connections to other topics, examiners reward you with way higher marks. It just shows you understand the foundation before you try building the house.
So in just a minute or two, I'm going to reveal this unseen examiner clue that basically shifts your entire answer and changes the whole game for securing top marks. But to make that clue super obvious and actually useful for you, we really need to build a foundational framework first. Let's build that framework right now so you never ever miss out on these points again.
Okay, here is the rigid 4-step framework you absolutely must use for extended responses. Step 1, concept. Step 2, evidence or data. Step 3, scientific reasoning. And Step 4, examiner wording. This is the absolute secret to securing what examiners call the method mark strategy. They actually give you marks just for your process. You state the core concept, you back it up with data you've extracted, you connect it with pure scientific reasoning, and then you package the whole thing up in precise examiner wording.
And this is exactly how you apply that framework when you're shifting from theory into practical application. When you're looking at mock data in a practical setup, your data interpretation skills are absolutely crucial. You have to extract the data accurately, double-check your units, like kilojoules per gram here, and actively hunt for anomalies. So say carbohydrates yield 16.7 and lipids yield 39.8. Those are normal, expected values. But what if your experimental protein yield is 17.0? Depending on your context, that might be an anomaly. Spotting that weird data point, recording it properly, and nailing the units, that's exactly what they want to see.
Once you've got your data sorted out, statistical analysis is your next big hurdle. Examiners fully expect you to apply the right statistical tests to calculate the numbers and draw evidence-based conclusions. You need to know these completely cold. Use the t-test when you're comparing means. Use chi-squared for categorical data. And use correlation tests for finding relationships between variables. Honestly, using the wrong test on exam day is a guaranteed way to just throw away all your method marks. You have to match the test to the data type every single time, even if your data extraction was totally flawless. All right, pop quiz time. I want you to consider this super common student answer. Ready? Lipids have more energy. The data shows this is true. Mentally pause for a second and try to predict the fatal flaw in that sentence. Think about what we just talked about with vague answers and examiner reports. What is completely missing there? Just think about it for a second.
Did you spot it? That flawed answer is completely empty. There's zero specific detail. Now compare that to a perfect top-band answer. Lipids yield 39.8 kilojoules per gram, which is significantly higher than carbohydrates at 16.7 kilojoules per gram due to a higher proportion of carbon-hydrogen bonds. See the difference? Those carbon-hydrogen bonds are exactly where the energy is locked away. This is true comparative analysis. You're identifying similarities and differences, you're using comparative phrases like significantly higher than, and you're backing it all up with hard, justified evidence plus the biological reasoning.
That is how you get the mark.
To write answers like that consistently, the top-scoring candidates actually run through a mental, critical analysis checklist to evaluate their evidence. You always have to question your assumptions. You need to identify limitations in the experimental setup itself. And you have to consider alternative interpretations and how they might affect your final conclusions. This sort of high-level evaluative thinking, it's the secret sauce. It is exactly what separates the top marks from the students who are just regurgitating what they read in a textbook.
Okay, but here's the catch, and this is exactly where most students stumble. Remember that unseen trap I promised to reveal earlier? Well, that perfect four-step framework we just built is entirely useless if you fall into it. Even with flawless definitions and perfect data extraction, if you misinterpret the unseen command words in the question, you will lose the entire mark band. The ultimate examiner clue is the command word itself. If you write a beautiful description when the command word was secretly demanding that you evaluate, you get 0 marks. You literally cannot survive Paper 2 without mastering these specific command word clues. It's that important. So your absolute next step is to watch our next explainer breaking down the specific command words that decide your mark band. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCSE to completely excel in your Cambridge examinations. So, what command word is secretly destroying your score right now? Dive into our next explainer to find out.